This video is completely fictional and is not meant to be offensive. This is just an alternate future. Hope you enjoy. As global warming spreads, Antarctica slightly became more inhabitable. Meaning that its conditions were similar to Siberia, which is still hard to live in, but still possible. And now, countries weren't really a thing in Antarctica, simply a UN Antarctica zone that stationed itself. It gave itself a base of operations, but little did it know would eventually be treated like a capital. As the years passed, in the year 2036, UN zone got around the continent. But eventually, yeah, 2038, 2 years, people began to rebel, wanting to form their own countries on the more livable Antarctican continent. One of these countries went by called India, had formed as a rebellion. India's origins was from a bunch of people with mixed diversity in the rebellion, because these Skylanders mainly were Americans, Brits, and a couple Canadians. But with Thailand declaring independence, they're going to try and put these rebellions down, trying to keep Antarctica as a country of this continent, and would succeed, with Thailand being put down by the but sadly for them, in what I believe was the year 2046, the Thailandians had united into a much bigger rebellion, and the UN Antarctica zone began to fracture with a new American Antarctica zone forming, Americans not forming a full country, more like their own zone, wanting us to share with the rest of the UN. North Island to expand in this American Antarctica zone, being put on a coastline. She said to hope it would do well. Americans obviously were. With Icelandia expanding across the years. And a treaty was formed. The American Antarctica Zone and would agree to leave the continent in 3 more years. The 2 years before that, for some reason, Icelandia joined the Antarctica UN subdivision. And now, the UN Antarctica Zone and Antarctica Zone left. And in that place, we ended up with a couple nations. Some of their names being, when you look at their origin, one called New Germany was founded by Germans living in Antarctica, which is now similar conditions to Finland. The flag they made for themselves. And a little bit more original sounding names like Noria, which was original until we realised it's called that because, it's what's left of the Norwegian part of the UN Antarctica zone. But a lot of these Norwegians are proud of their. And then there's also of Cyania, which and with Cyania Icelandia controlling most of the continent as well. These countries would have to expand fast. War was between Icelandia and Norway and New Germany and Oceania for, border disputes. Funny enough, they did expand as they were at war. And the people probably just wanted to get into the tail of Antarctica. Icelandia was a republic. All of them were republics, but Oceania was one island, as you can see. As one side. Went into Oceania. Because their full names lost it. Actually, in the original Polia, sorry, that's Polis. But they're also known as Polia in some of their own. They have a similar flag format to North Macedonia, as you can see. And the origins of this nation, there are some simply people who made it to the tail of Antarctica. And they hope to expand before New Germany. It's the glorious Union War a while. And it's the last chapter of this episode. And they called this and now we're at the final chapter. And yes, it's not And then finally we got Cryonia. And we also have a Nordic style flag because, well, they seem to like those. And they expanded as far as they could. Friends have a union, and this is Antarctica as of now. If you enjoyed this video and